everybody. Sean here with another honing video. If you're watching this live, feel free to put any questions in the live chat. And if you're watching this after recording, if you have any questions, feel free to comment in the comment section below or email me in the email that will be in the description. So for today's video, I will be hopefully honing two razors. This rocket razor. This is a Japanese steel. And I will be honing this medium-sized hollow ground Wade & Butcher. This is softer steel. And let's just get right on it. So today I will be setting the bevel on this natural stone. This is a Washita. This is a bevel setter. It's not your typical bevel setter, synthetic. Usually people have a synthetic stone that they use to set their bevels. These are a little bit slower than your typical bevel setter, be it from Naniwa or Sharpening. So let's get right into it. D. Namel, what's up, my friend? Hope you're doing well on this Sunday morning. Good morning, Rick. I wonder if Rick knows about this stone. This is a Washita. If anyone knows about Washitas, I would figure it would have been you, Rick. Okay, and with Washitas, I like to use oil. Eric, the Cajun Blade, my good friend, he's the person that actually gave me this Washita. So, thank you again, Eric. Let me put the camera a little bit higher. So, I like using oil on these. And if you've never honed on a natural stone, these Washitas feel awesome. It's more of a... So if you're used to setting your bevels on a synthetic you can get some feedback that is visual as well as tactile. But on these, it feels like it's just mostly tactile. You know, and us honers that we love the art of honing, we really enjoy that tactile feedback. You can really feel like it's doing something. Would you... You almost got me there, Dixie. Almost got me, brother. Good morning to Robert, No Name Bear, my good friend. Robert, No Name Bear, has the best nose out of anyone, in my opinion. Every time he recommends a scent note, he's never off. Hi, Sean. Out on the motorbike today, so I will need to look after. Have a great video chat. Yeah, no problem, my man. Hi, would you pin me if I sub? I need to know how to pin people, but go ahead and I'll try. Craig Davis. Hi, Sean. I will need to watch later, but thank you, Craig. Thank you. The Uncanny Movie Studios. What's up, my man? Thanks for being here. This is Razor Honing 101. This is a natural stone. So these cut slower than your synthetics because the abrasive is a little bit slower. But at least to me, it seems like they give a really nice smooth edge. All right, Daniel. Do I need to click on your name to pin you? Mine is 821. I can't believe I got a new one. There we go. I think I pinned the comment. So I'm going to add a little bit more oil here. And I think bevel setters that aren't too aggressive are great because you can maintain geometry without being overly aggressive. I am a big fan of Cypher. I sub. Thank you for subbing, my friend. If you're interested in shaving with a straight razor, honing, I got you covered. My name is Sean Staplefield. I am 27 years old from Puerto Rico. Got into this hobby about about closing in on 2 years now. So I shave with these and I hone these, and I've just been having a great time. There's a really nice growing community of people that hone and shave with these. Yeah, it's almost like a Sweeney Todd. You did too. Can I pin multiple people? Let me see if I can. I'll try to pin Lando as well. Oh no, I can't. There's only one pin message. Bro, my YouTube name is Geometry. My Cotty will be here Monday. I'm pumped. So on this progression today, we're going to use a variety of different natural stones here. So we'll start and set the bevel with the Washita. And then we'll move on to a Cauticle. I want to talk about Cauticles like I always do. And then we'll move on to a finishing stone that I feel like doesn't get talked about enough. For the price, it's a great stone. I want to say hello to some people here. Julia, hi. Luca Boy, hi. Lando. And, yeah. The Uncanny Movie Studios, thank you, thank you. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat below. And for anyone who's watching this afterwards, feel free to leave any questions in the comments section or email me. That will be in the description. I did, didn't I? Julia? Am I saying it wrong? Hopefully I'm not. Your name is Abby? I'll remember that, Abby. There's a series I'm watching called The Last of Us, and there's a girl there called Abby. You did not say it wrong. Your last name is a little bit will be harder to say. Julia Melnick. That one I probably did say wrong. I feel like some people use slurry on these stones, meaning they create a little mud from the stone. I don't think you need that with these stones, but if you want to, you can. So this is an oil stone. You can hone it with water as well, but these arc stones and these Washitas, I feel like they really shine when you use oil on them. You can feel it when you're honing on it. What's my favorite lapping stone? Probably a Diamond Grit 400, but for raising a slurry, I think Eric recommends like a 1K diamond plate. The Atoma and DMT are really good, but I prefer Atoma. Fortnite player, Connor. So we got Connor and we got Abby. I sometimes watch South Park. Yeah, me too. You're from Ukraine? Heck yeah. There's a razor maker. She's a girl, and she makes razors like these, and she's from Ukraine. She makes some awesome stuff. This hobby is why we're able to avoid female thirst traps. Well, we can't avoid the economy of it, man. We're always chasing the next stone. Yeah, so I feel like these stones really thrive on oil. I've tried them on water, but oil for me, you know. And if it gets a little bit dirty, then I don't mind it. I like honing in my hand. I feel a lot more comfortable doing it this way. It's kind of the main reason why my my honing content has mostly moved to the live stream. It's because it's a lot more easier for me to make a live stream and hone on here. Have you seen The Walking Dead? Yes, I have, sir. I stopped when one of the characters died. A young boy without an eye. When that character died, I stopped watching. Last finish with a jean strap. I got leather strap. I got linen strap. I got fire hose strap. All right. So now, look at that. Oh, that's beautiful right there. cleaning up the razor a little bit. I don't want to ruin it for you, brother, but I stopped watching because of that. I like vegan strops. They are just so skinny and fast and hard to catch. Abby says, I know the South Park fan-made animation called Monster Park. I need to give that a look then. All right. Checking the edge. The way I check my edges is I hold the razor on these fingers over here, and then I take my thumb and I press down, and you would say that's dangerous, but your skin will tell you not to move forward or backwards. And yeah, the bevel is definitely set on there. Okay, so we're good with that. Let me clean this up a little bit more. I use Dawn and just hit the stone with Dawn. And then I rub it. So thank you again, Eric, he had sent me this a long time ago, this stone. This is a beautiful natural stone. And they don't get talked about enough. Now everybody is into, using synthetic stones, and there's nothing wrong with that. We're just sharpening a razor, my man. All right. Put the stone over here. And now we're going to move to the cauticle. Dimitar FIFA, thank you for subbing, my man. Thank you for being here. I'm going to have a little trail of water here. Actually, that's a little bit too noisy. I don't want it to make too much noise. There we go. That's good enough. So this is the cauticle, Belgian Cauticle. I like the cauticles for a variety of reasons. They kind of speak to me. So the progression strategy here is a little bit different than it would be on a synthetic stone, because on a synthetic stone you would probably have like a 1K, 3K, 5K, 8K. But sometimes people have bigger jumps, so like 1K, 5K, 10K, and those work, but the bigger the jump, the more liability you have. More stuff can go wrong. With cauticles, this basically is like a full system. And the reason why I like them is because if you do the delicate method, which is just adding water and getting that slurry thinner, and by the way, look how I ruined this. This had come off. I glued it and I put it on a bad angle and left to do some stuff, and when I came back, it got glued this way. What can you do? I am not the Kadi Jedi Master. I learned everything I did from you, brother. So credit where credit is due. Someone else who brought the delicate method was Gary Haywood. Gary Haywood, I remember watching his videos, honing on his little seat in the bathroom. I believe he learned from Bart Thorps. So I want to say hi, but I don't know how to say your name. What's going on here? I am sharpening a razor on natural stones. And then I'm not going to shave with them today, but if you check my channel, I shave with straight razors like your great granddad did. That's all I do. I sharpen stuff, sharpen knives, razors, and I shave with them. So now I'm creating a slurry. This slurry has abrasive in it. And going back to the topic at hand is this progression. I like it because, like I said, whenever you have high grit jumps, thank you, brother. It is a really nice hobby. Claire, hope you're doing well. it's a nice hobby filled with great people. I really enjoy this hobby. Got a slurry clockwise and counterclockwise. So whenever you have like high grit jumps, it can work, but stuff can go wrong easier. So cauticles, if you do the dialed cut and you just add a drop of water to go from thicker to finer, you really have very low grit jumps, which in turn gives you a really nice edge at the end. All right, hand toning here, making sure I don't have anything on the surface of the blade. And here we go. It's a nice milky color there. And really quick, you can see how dark that is getting. This is a really nice long stone. It's about 8 to 9 inches long. So you have a lot of surface area. The work goes by really fast. If you have a smaller stone, of course you're going to do a lot more laps. Arkansas stones, those are novaculites. This one is a cauticle. It's from Belgium. There's really nothing like this. This liquid you see here is a slurry that is created from this base stone. The abrasive inside this cauticle is called a garnet, and what holds those garnets into place is basically a clay binder, which is the yellow thing you see here. All right. You can really listen to the audio feedback, which I call the feeling the stone. So when I'm feeling the stone, what I really mean is I'm observing the stone visually, audibly, and tactile wise. It's no juju magic or anything like that. It's literally observation skills. So I should really start saying, instead of feeling the stone, I should really start saying I'm observing the stone. And anyone can teach themselves how to do that. It just takes time, like it did to me. You're not born running. You gotta walk first before you can run. Ominous says, with razor, do you always wash the slurry off? Never wash my natural stones I use for knives. I always have a shaving edge on my pocket knives. So Ominous, on this cauticle, the slurry, the garnet doesn't break down. So the more slurry I have, the more abrasive it's gonna be. That's how cauticles work, and that's why they're so expensive. The more I thin it out, the less abrasives I have on the surface of the stone. And so I go from coarse to fine. So when people say cauticles are 600 to 12K, it's because you have all that range in this stone, depending on how thick or thin you make the slurry. I have Arkansas stones I want to learn how to use. Arkansas stones are great stones, man. I feel like a lot of people, when they were kids, they had like those pocket Arkansas stones that they learned how to sharpen knives with. And they're just amazing stones. See, now I'm going to clean the blade and add a little bit more water into the mix, and that makes it finer. Claire, I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one. Abigail says, sometimes I watch anime. Same here. I'm watching Freerin right now at the moment. Beautiful anime. And before that, I was watching Solo Leveling. My good friend Nemesis Blade is here with the beautiful Olympus stones. Man, you get some beautiful shaves. Man, Freerin, I'm in episode 20, and it hits you right in the feels. I don't know how those Japanese do it, but they always have like different topics, and the way they display it, it just hits you right in the feels. Oh yeah, I also finished Jujutsu Kaisen. And this is turning into a anime stream instead of a sharpening stream. But that way you guys know a little bit more about me and the stuff I like watching, you know. I'm not just a guy that shaves with a straight razor and hones. I also like different things. That way you get to know me a little bit better. All right. I'm going to clean the slurry. Ooh. Sorry there. Hit you guys. I'm going to clean the slurry. And I'm going to add a layer of tape. And also, I'm going to take this jacket off because it's hot in here. Okay, jacket's off. Now I'm going to put a layer of tape on the razor. Number one, because it's sticking to the stone, because of all the metal that's there. And for me, sticking does not mean the razor is done. For a lot of people, that is a tell. And a lot of the times I can see that they're unhappy with the edges that they're getting, and it's because they take sticking as a measure of doneness, which it's not. What's happening here? Just honing some razors here. Okay. This is a natural stone. It's called a cauticle. I'm going to start from that. And now it's not sticking at all because of that layer of tape. Now that will create a micro bevel, meaning I have a bevel inside of a bevel. And that's going to be focusing more on the very apex of the edge. Kind of like when you have different wheels with curved stones. You got the bigger wheels, like the 6-foot wheel, or in this case, a smaller wheel, which is a 6-foot wheel. It's more aggressive. It takes more material behind the apex. And then you move on to the different wheels that get closer and closer to the edge. Well, with tape, it's kind of like the same thing, where if you're not using it, you're working the apex and everything behind it, and then when you put a layer of tape, you start focusing on the very top. I don't mind micro bevels. I've used them for a long, long time. Even before I was in this hobby, I used them for knives because that's a great way to deburr a knife. You know, if I had a burr here, there's no burr anymore. Mine says Norton Abrasive Hard Arkansas Stone. Does it need oil, and should I start with... Some people use those, James, without oil. They use them with water. My experience, all Arkansas stones benefit from oil. You know, and as much as I love O&R, it does not compete at all. O&R is optimum no rinse, which is another solution people use. But yeah, those stones were made for oil. Larry Holly says hi. Hi, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. All right. Jeffrey Miller says, hi, Sean. Hope you're doing well, Jeffrey. You made it to the live stream for the first time. I got you, James. Don't worry. All right, going to clean the stone here a little bit. You can see there's some slurry there. You kind of feel like the handle is a little bit oily still, so I'm going to clean that off real quick. All right, what makes a razor shave ready? Depending on who you ask, they'll give you different answers. I would say forget about the numbers. Forget about. I use HHT. I use packing peanut, but also don't get too caught up on that. For me, the real test to see if a razor is shave ready is by shaving with it. And sometimes you'll be surprised with what you get. I find that sharpness when you're starting out, you're going to be ultra focused on getting a sharp edge. Do you use a razor blade downstairs too? I do not. I'm not going to lie to you. I've thought about it. 200 viewers and only 19 likes. Let's get those numbers up, guys. What's that, Wolf of Wall Street? Those are rookie numbers. So on the channel, all I do is I sharpen razors, I sharpen knives on my live streams, and then on my long format videos, I shave with straight razors, sometimes pocket knives, but mostly straight razors. I also do challenges like trying to break the world record, shaving the fastest. I also talk about soaps, fragrances, and all that kind of stuff. And I interact with people that interact with me. So if you watch my content and you leave a comment, then most likely I'm going to watch your stuff as well. Because I'm here to make friends, you know. I have not tried waxing them. I have thought about using a straight razor down there, but opted out to not do it. Can't risk the manhood. Sean, for a young guy, he's the shit. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I am 27 years old, so skillful. Thank you, my brother. Thank you. So yeah, I do different tests. I use a microscope sometimes. I do the hanging hair test. I do the packing peanut test to check how sharp I am. But at the end of the day, if I feel something is ready, I'll shave with it and see if it's good. You know, when you're starting out, I feel like the main thing you're going to want to have is sharpness. And let me tell you, sharpness is easy. Getting sharpness is easy on stones, be it synthetics or naturals. The real question is, can you get comfort? All right. I know the kind of skill it takes to make this look easy. How long have you been sharpening? I have been sharpening for a long time, knives. Straight razors, 2 years. Closing in on 2 years. I do sharpen 2 or 3 of these a day. Well, the same razors, I sharpen them twice, like 2 or 3 times a day just to like get good technique. I have been tunnel visioning a lot, and I always want to give credit where credit is due because I wouldn't be here without any of my friends. So Eric, the Cajun Blade, who's in the chat, hopefully he leaves a message so you guys can check him out as well. He's been a great inspiration and help to me, and I wouldn't be here without him. I wouldn't have known the things I know without him. So Eric is joking. I haven't been sharpening for 20 years. And also, I never worked for a abrasive company or anything like that, like some people might want to make you think. All I do is my family has a shop, a restaurant, and I sharpen the knives over there. I also sharpen all of my kitchen knives. And yeah, so credit where credit is due. It's all thanks to people like Eric, the Cajun Blade, Greg Gallant, Bill M, Leon. I feel like I'm missing a few people. But they've all helped me out and answered all of my questions. Here, let me go back in frame. It's all about, especially if you're coming into this hobby, if you're interested in what you're watching, the main thing is be humble and take advice from people that are older than you. I find that nowadays, especially my generation, like we can be... Exactly, just because I haven't been sharpening for 20 years doesn't mean I can say it. I mean, imagine being a knife sharpener for 20 years and not feeling a burr or not being able to tell if you had a bird or not. I don't know. Sounds kind of sus. Let me put some more soapy water mixture here. Seg, we're up to 28 likes now. I don't know if it hasn't updated, but whatever you're doing, it's working. It does seem like the more you guys like, the more viewers we get, which is interesting. YouTube is an interesting ecosystem. I've been doing this YouTube for about 2 years now, I would say. And just last week we hit 1,000 subscribers. So it's always fun to see how this happens. I still need like very few watch time hours to get monetization, but once I hit monetization, I will probably be very open about the money I make. So I'll probably screenshot the money I'm making, and that way people can get a sense of, if you do get monetized, how much money you will make. Because where am I based off? I'm based off Puerto Rico, which is a Caribbean. It's in the Caribbean. It's a small island, and it's a territory of the United States. My OnlyFans of feet pics. I'll start honing with my feet instead of my hands. You guys crack me up. But yeah, once I get monetized, I'll probably be very open about it, so everybody can get a sense of the amount of money you get paid through ads and all that stuff. Yeah, same here, Nemesis. I really didn't care about it. If I only had one viewer, I would still make these videos because I'm just very passionate about the work I'm doing. All right, I think I am done with the cauticle. Let me check how the edge is doing on my thumb. You can kind of feel how thin it's getting when you do the thumb pad. Yeah, this got very thin compared to when I was on the Washita. I can feel it on my thumb. So that's also a skill that you can train for, and you also have to look visually what is going on. All right. Hey, but Eric, that's a good thing. When you get people to unsub, if they don't watch you, it's better for them not to be subbed anyway. All right. So now I'm going to finish this razor off on a stone that really doesn't get talked about enough on the platform. It's a natural stone, and it's a cheap stone, and that's the Tam O'Shanter. I got this for like 18 bucks on Griffith Shaving Goods. I've been playing with it some time now, and I had to lap the shit out of it because it comes really rough. But for 18 bucks, you know, a finishing stone for 18 bucks, that's a steal. All right. It was sold to me as a white Tam O'Shanter. And from what I've seen online, supposedly, the white Tam O'Shanter is a little bit finer. Now, I like how it feels on the razor. It's very smooth. Yeah, I got it for 18 bucks on Griffith Shaving Goods. What you can do is you can buy 2 of these, lap them, and glue them together. So for like 40 bucks, you can have a nice little barber-sized hone. Exactly, just like Eric is saying. Let me have a sip of coffee. So far, my experience is you can definitely get a shaving edge off of them. I was impressed at how smooth the surface feels. The polish isn't as mirror-like as the cauticle is, but I feel like it's more straightforward. You could also use some slurry here. I think you would like it, Nemesis. I mean, but you got the Olympus, so from what I hear, the Olympus is hard to beat. The polish is not as mirror-like as the Cauticle, but I did the shave test and I did the packing peanut, and it did all right. So for like 18 bucks, I feel like that's a steal. I enjoyed honing on this on water more than I enjoy honing on water on the water of air. Although I do enjoy honing on slurry more on the water of air than I do this. Now this has soap, water, and glycerin. And like my friend Nemesis says, he says, I love all natural stones. Same here. And I have different things that I like about them. Do you ever cut your hand by accident? Sometimes, but not in a long while. I don't know if you guys can hear that wispy sound. Sean, do you have a Laloon? I do not. Mainly it's because I'm very skeptical about them. But some people love them, some people hate them. So maybe I should get a Laloon because it's better to be on one team than another, you know, and not have any team at all. Either you love them or you hate them, but being indifferent is probably not a place where I want to be, especially when I have a honing channel. But I've been very skeptical about the Laloon and the ILR. Oh, I used the wrong. That's very foamy. That's better. Straight razors should not have a secondary bevel, which is what you have. I always check my geometry. This geometry is around 16 degrees, so it can hold a secondary bevel. Some people say if I need to get a lower geometry, I can use my convex stones. If I need to get a higher geometry, I can use tape like I am using right now. People that say that you can't use a secondary bevel, if they try to use a secondary bevel and it doesn't work for them, then that speaks more about their honing skills than mine. I can use a secondary bevel, a non-secondary bevel, and I can shave just fine. And in fact, I'll go one step further and say I do a lot of things wrong. I use secondary bevels. Sometimes I hone this way, edge trailing. Sometimes I do a thick lather when I'm shaving. Sometimes I use pre-shave, sometimes I don't. I'll go one step further and say no one is shaving better than I am, you know. I'm shaving just as good as everybody else. Exactly, Eric. If you can do the math and you can know the geometry of your razor and you like playing with that stuff, by all head, that's what I like. All my razors, I know the geometry that they have. I like doing the math, and I like setting them up the way I like setting them up. But you're entitled to your opinion, as is everybody else. I am based off Puerto Rico, which is a territory of the United States, and you are free. You have your right to freedom of speech. So that was like maybe the old vanguard that didn't believe in secondary bevels, you know. You should take some Ajax and or comment and scrub your sink so it's shiny and happy. I should probably do that. I agree with that. All right, let's talk about stropping for a second, because I've been using this paddle strop a lot lately, and I have been enjoying it. It's a flat strop. This is about, I don't know, 10 inches long, 11 inches long. And I don't do much here. I do about 40 passes. And I'm not counting right now because I'm talking. You can use a paddle strop. You can use a hanging strop, which I really enjoy. I have 3 hanging straps in my bathroom. You can use your palm. Something that you do need to recognize, though, is the amount of area that you're using. So, for example, my hanging strap is like 3 times this in length. So, for me to get the same work done here that I do on my hanging strap, I need to do 3 times the work here. And if you're using palm stropping, which a lot of people like, 1, 2, 3, I need to do 3 times as much work as I do here, and then 9 times as much as I do on the hanging strap to get the same results. You know, it's good because you have a hand, and you can take your hand out and you can strop on your hand, on your palm, but in reality, you need to do a lot more work here. It might bump the edge a little bit, but to get the same results as you do on your hanging strap, you gotta keep in mind the lap count and the length of the razor. All right. Oh yeah. Hopefully you guys can see that. That is effortless. So I know that's ready to go. I love your personality. I apply what I learned to my knife sharpening skills. Thank you, Grooven. Emilio, hope you're doing well. Martin, thank you, my friend. One of my good friends in the hobby is called Martin as well, so I like the name. Grooven, thank you for that, man. I'm here to make friends. That's all I'm here for. Mamadou So, hope you're doing well. I'm here to make friends. That's all I care about. All right, let's take another razor and let's hone this one. This one was a gift by my friend Robert No Name Bear. He has the best nose in the game. Every soap that he likes, I like. I'm cleaning up the area here. All right, and this one has a bevel of 16 degrees. Why? Because I checked the spine thickness from here to here, and it was about 4.7. And then I took the spine, the distance from the spine to the apex, and that was 16 point something. I did the calculation. It came out to 8 degrees per side. So you take 8, you multiply it by 2, 16 degrees, which is a great number for straight razor shaving. Robert, man, Robert has really good nose, man. No Name Bear. Where can I get one of those? You can get them on eBay. You can get them on Amazon. But I think your best bet is finding someone that you enjoy in the community and buying from them. Why? Because they're going to give you a razor that has no geometry issues if you ask for it, and they're going to help you out through the entire process. Hope you're doing well, Dallas. All right. This already has a bevel, so I'm going to go straight on the cauticle. So we're off again to create a slurry. Let me see. I have some notes here to keep talking about. All right, yeah, this is something I want to talk about. So I have some little notes here on the side for whenever the chat is a little bit quieter. But there's this topic, this conversation on, is a razor too keen? And if it's too keen, if it's too uncomfortable. And that's something I used to say before. I used to not like, Sean did. It was a really nice cauticle edge, Robert. It felt, the very apex felt very, usually, like, cauticle edges are a little bit rounded, or they feel a little bit rounded or buttery. It felt very acute, very sharp. But that's what you wanted, right? So I think you nailed it, brother. Yeah, some people talk about razors being too keen, being uncomfortable. I can get that. That's what I used to think as well. I used to not like synthetic stones because of that. Zinc, Skibbity, hope you're doing well, my friend. I used to not like synthetics because of that reason. I felt like they got too keen and they were uncomfortable. Now, I am of the mindset that it's not that the razor is too keen or uncomfortable. Like, you don't get the uncomfort because it's too keen. It gets uncomfortable because it's keen, and your shaving technique is not where it needs to be. So if you have a keen razor, the good rule of thumb to follow is always lowest angle, lightest pressure. And the razor that you thought was too keen will probably not be. Because at the end of the day, we're just shaving with metal. The metal doesn't have feelings. All the edge is doing, all its purpose is to cut steel, or cut the whisker, right? And it's more about the technique of the shaver than the edge that is there. I'm working in sections. Class is in session. The stropping, I think some stones need a really good stropping to make the stone shine. For example, cauticles, like I was taught by Eric, they really do like a nice heavy stropping, a good amount of stropping. I have been playing with other types of stones that don't need as much. On a synthetic, I use synthetics to hone. I kind of skip the linen and go straight to the leather. That gives me results that I like, and that's just my experience. Everybody should play around with the gear that they have and find what works for them. Eric says, or your natural shave technique that you enjoy may not be suited for a hyper keen razor. It can be that way sometimes. Sometimes I don't like to have to think too much or just relax. Exactly. I agree. Sometimes you have razors that are way too keen that you're like kind of scared to even get close. Skibbity says, what a champ, man. Says 167 of us and only 50 likes. We're up 52 now because of you. So, thank you, brother. With this particular cauticle, it's so thin that sometimes I lose the slurry to the sides. So I'm going to create a new slurry. And now here I'm going to apply Another technique, which isn't, I mean, you're diluting, but I'm creating a new slurry, and hopefully it's lighter than the slurry I had before. How old were you your first time you did straight edge shave? I'm 27 now, so I think I was 25. I have a real thick beard. Would straight edge be easier? For me, straight razor shaving is easier. I haven't shaved in years. Try a Chevette. Try a straight razor. You're going to love it. See you, Rick. All right, my friend. I'm gooning again, which I love. I love your name, by the way. Funny name. You say I've been using the disposable Chevette razor. I feel like my technique is not there for an actual straight razor. My opinion is Chevettes can sometimes be a little bit harder to use than an actual straight razor. At least that was how it was for me. I had an easier time with a straight razor than I did with the Chevette. The Chevette is so keen. They are very thin. And here you have, I don't know, like 3 inches of blade. On a Chevette, you have like half of that. So the smaller the area that is making contact, the less pressure it needs to cut. So it's really easy to cut yourself with a Chevette as opposed to a straight razor, in my opinion. But people have different opinions, and again, they're entitled to them. But I think it's a scientific fact that the thinner the blade that is making contact, the easier it's going to cut without as much pressure. And this is a really enjoyable honing session. My friend, are you Italian? No, I am Puerto Rican. Yeah, you also get some feedback from the straight razor. That is correct. My family is originally from Germany. JB says hi. Hope you're doing well, my friend. My good friend Devin Jackson made a video honing on one of these, and he talked about a subject that I agree with him. He says there was a razor that he needed to use white lightning on it after the cauticle, and I don't think there's anything wrong with using paste if you have it. You know, it's not my preferred method of honing with a cauticle or like shaving with a cauticle, but if that's what you need to get the keenness where you want it, then by all means do it. There shouldn't be any negativity around that. It's a tool that you're using. It's not a cheat code. If you need that extra bump to get where you want, and you don't have enough time to keep honing on the stone, then by all means use the white lightning paste. You know, it only takes like 10 seconds to go on the paste. If you don't want to spend that extra 5 minutes on the stone, then by all means go on the paste. You could always go back to the stone later if you wanted to. And the same thing can be said with different stones, you know. One of my favorite type of edges to get on a straight razor is go on a cauticle, and then I go and finish on a Japanese natural, on a light misty slurry. And that gives me an edge that I really enjoy. It's like a hybrid between a Cauticle and a J-Nat. All right, let me see how the edge is doing here. That is very thin at the apex. I'm going to add some water, soap, O&R mixture here. Eric says, if I want a razor keener, I go on Arc, J-Nat, but if I want super sharp, uber sharp, comfortable, and easy as shit, use my Olympus Amazing Stone. Heck yeah. I need to try out the Olympus. Nomio says, hello. Hello, brother. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Alright, so one of the reasons I've been honing on live stream rather than making honing videos is because I've tried honing on the bench stone, but I do not feel comfortable at all. So my bread and butter is honing in the hand like I am doing right now. It always gets me the best results. And doing that on a long format video is kind of hard. And also I look at these live streams like I'm doing some Q&A as well, you know. If anybody has questions, I can answer them live on the live chat, or after the video is public, if they have any questions, they can leave a comment and I'll answer it, or you can get my email, which is in the description, and I'll answer them. So some people say that honing on the hand is wrong. Some people say you need to hone on the bench. Whatever your preference, I think that's what you should go. Whatever gets you the best edges that you can possibly get. All right. I like that, Eric. The only wrong way to hone is by telling someone else how to hone. Ain't that the truth? It has a beautiful smile on it, this razor. All right. And I'm going to go to the Tam O'Shanter on this one as well. For 18 bucks, Tam O'Shanter is, I don't know, hard to beat. I was skeptical with the Tam O'Shanter. Yeah, I was skeptical on the Tam O'Shanter. But for 18 bucks, man, I'm not saying you're going to have like the best finisher either, but it's in the finishing category. I still think if you have, let me put this layer of tape and I can keep talking. So at least from the polish and the test I did, the shaves I did, this looks like a gray one, but it was sold to me as a white. I don't know if there's a difference, but for 18 bucks, this is a finishing stone. I still think if you have one of those good cauticle mines, like a Legris, or not Legris, Ledrosante, or a LV, or Lagros, Blanche, you should be getting keener edges than this. This is comfortable. It's close to like an edge I would get from a Legris. But if you have the premium veins that are finer, I think you're going to be having a more polished edge on those than this. But again, those are like hundreds of dollars. I got this for 18 bucks. And I got a finishing stone out of it. So I do like the edge I get off of this more than I do the water of air. And the water of air, you can also shave with it. But that one's a little bit more expensive. That's like, the small one is like 40 bucks. So I would just get this for 18 bucks on Griffith Shaving Goods. And if you're a stone collector, then you get everything. Which most people here are. Feels very smooth. I like that. This came with a slurry stone, so you can use slurry on this. I don't know, you can go off your 6K or your 8K, put a slurry on it with your slurry stone, dilute. You'll get that nicer fingerprint. You got a beautiful water of air, Eric. How much? I don't even know how much you spend, but I was looking at Griffith Shaving Goods, the water of airs that they have now, the really big ones. Man, they're like 300 bucks. My water of air, I might need to try another one, but my water of air auto slurries. So I'll do 10 laps like this, just like feather light, and I'll see some slurry coming off and some gray. I'm like, what the fuck? And so I have to have the faucet nearby, and every 10 laps I clean it, and that's how I get a good edge. I got mine from Griffith. It's a small one, like the pocket-sized one. It has the label on it. Marino says, ciao. See you later, my friend. Hope you have a good Sunday. I know I'm having a great Sunday, spending it here, honing with you guys. Thanks for being here. The slurry helps sharpen and should be kept on the stone. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Bald and bearded. Try oil. It will float the swarth. I'll give that a go. This feels really nice. Yeah, my water of air doesn't feel as hard as this Nemesis for some reason. It could be I got a bad, I don't know. I don't want to say a bad one because it's still good. It performs well. I tested it out against my 8K Fuji, which the 8K is the Fuji is finer than any other 8K in my opinion. it performs more like a 9 or a 10K. And after the 8K, I went to the water of air, and it didn't improve the edge, but it didn't degrade the edge either. And so then I went from the 4K Haya with slurry, diluted with the water of air, all the way up to water, and it got me to where the Fuji would, but it was a little bit soft, and it was auto slurring, so I had to hone next to the faucet. But I'm gonna try the oil and see how that goes. So there are parts that should be avoided. There are inclusions that are soft. Mine feels pretty soft. Not gonna lie. Like I said, this Tamo feels harder than my water of air. So I'm guessing everything is pointing out to, like, it's auto slurring. I can see it. It feels softer. Everything is pointing out to me that I need to try another water of air. Same experience to me, Robert, or experience to the other guys? You also have a pocket stone like I do. Yeah, to me. Ooh-wee. That's without stropping. I don't know. 18 bucks. I like this shit. If I was a minimalist, you get a Washita. You can find these for like 15, 20 bucks. Boom, bevel setter. 18 bucks. Boom, you got a finisher. And then you just need something in between. Cauticle, baby. Naturals have difference. I have very hard time to find Olympus who's past your I'm guessing that's you mean past your quality control. That's good. I need to try out the Olympus stone. Maybe Eric can send me his in the future to try out. I'll do a honing video with it if you do. Or a live stream, I mean. This edge feels ready, man. I just want to do some very light laps now. Being that this is a smiling razor. Oh, pass around stone, perfect. Being that this is a smiling razor and this is a narrow stone, you have to do more work because less of the edge is making contact at every given moment. So you gotta do more laps than you think with smiling razors and with narrower stones. That's a quick tip for you. So this is it feels hard, this stone. It doesn't feel like it's sandy. At least not when at least my Tamo doesn't feel sandy or gritty. It feels smooth to the tactile wise. That feels good. Maybe some stropping now. But my pressure is almost non-existent here when I'm finishing. And I like natural stones because when I'm using synthetics, I kind of give myself a lap count. I don't want to go too overboard on them. But on naturals, I can feel like I can hone it for a little bit longer, which I like. When I'm making these live streams, I like taking my time, talking with the chat, and taking my time with the razor. So very light pressure here. Let me read the chat real quick. You want to be first. Sean keeps stones longer than Big G. He lives in a rainforest. I still got your Lin and your Charnley. I was actually thinking about that the other day because I got to go to the post office tomorrow. Are you selling any of those stones, Eric? The Lin or the Charnley? I am fine with waiting in line. I am further away than everyone except Johnny. No, I know you are, but I know you told me that you weren't going to sell those stones. And I just can't remember if you were going to sell me the Charnley or not. I don't know which one I like better. I think I might like the Lin more than the Charnley. The Idwall. Very light pressure here. Kind of getting in the zone here. It's almost therapeutic. The Lin Idwall is such a unique honing experience. No way you would imagine it would produce a keen edge. I don't know. I feel like I got a better edge that I enjoyed from the Lin than I did from the Charnley. Both got me a finished edge, but I think I enjoyed the Lin a little bit more to shave with. Which I was surprised because I thought I was gonna like the Charnley a lot more. Exactly, it feels kind of coarse, but then you shave with it and it's like, what the fuck? interesting how not everything is how you think it is, how it seems. I'm happy that that I'm not crazy and you got the same results. Honing on these little stones can be a little bit difficult. Just keep playing with it and you'll get it. Very light pressure at this particular time. Kind of getting ASMR here next to the phone, kind of in a trance a little bit, enjoying this honing sensation. Okay, yeah. I'll give that a stropping real quick. Let's give that a stropping. Very nice razor. It's a Weight & Butcher. Got a paddle strap. This was finished on 400 wet and dry. I like 400. Hope everyone's having a great Sunday. Eric, do you get days off on the boat or not really? Not really, right? You just work till you're done. That's okay, Josh. All right. Oh, yeah. That's a good shaver right there. That's a good shaver right there. So, we honed 2 razors today. The frame back, Japanese frame back, and this Weight & Butcher. We finished both on them on the Tamil Shanter. And it was an enjoyable experience. For 18 bucks, this was a good stone. I would buy it again, especially if I was on a budget. I saw your video this morning, Robert. Robert's Reviews. I saw Eric's video this morning with his Drew Dick. Go check out Robert's Reviews and go check out Eric's video, Shaving with the Drew Dick. Go check out each other. The 192 people that are watching, 160 people that are watching, go check out my buddies that are in the chat. Nemesis Blade, No Name Bear, Cutthroat Goat, and everybody else. We're all friends here, so make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and all I do is I shave on camera, and I make honing and sharpening videos on live stream. So have a great Sunday, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.